Residents in the state of Missouri could be in for a $500 per person check as part of a new stimulus tax rebate plan supported by the Senate. The reasoning behind the stimulus tax rebate is to help Missouri residents cope with the rising levels of inflation in the United States, an issue that is affecting many other countries in the world. The plan appears to have widespread support so far, but in order for it to become a reality for residents, there will still need to be a vote by the Housing Governor, Mike Parson. The main source of confusion around a stimulus tax rebate is often the eligibility of local residents. In this instance, individuals earning $150,000 and married couples earning under $300,000 will qualify for the payment. The payment made is adjusted for people's marital status, so individuals will see a payment of $500 and married couples will get a payment of $1,000. There is a chance that refunds will be prorated in order to keep the overall amount paid out by the state under $500 million. The House actually has a similar proposal that it wishes to discuss. The proposal would mean there are no income requirements for the payment, and there would be a $1 billion cap before the payments are prorated. And according to the Missouri Department of Revenue, about 877,000 people in Missouri will not receive a rebate at all. Nearly 950,000 residents will receive some sort of credit, and about 1.4 million people in Missouri will receive the maximum rebate. A key factor of the plan is that in order to be eligible for a payment, residents must have to be paid in the paid taxes in the past, showing they've contributed to the public purse, which is where the money would come from. Unfortunately, your plan could leave out many low-income Missourians and senior citizens because those making less than $13,000 as a couple likely have no tax liability. Now throughout your career, it's likely that a portion of your income has gone towards Social Security benefits each pay period. When the time comes to retire, you are able to draw monthly benefits from this program. This provides you with an additional income stream on top of your personal retirement savings. So if your work over the years has made you eligible to draw a pension, however, those payments can reduce the amount of Social Security benefits for which you could otherwise be eligible for. This reduction is called the windfall elimination provision. Now, this elimination provision is a formula that effectively reduces Social Security and disability benefits for certain retirees. The provision also applies to Social Security payees whose pension comes from non-covered jobs. So if you don't have a Social Security tax withheld from your paycheck and then receive a pension from that job, you can probably expect your Social Security benefits in retirement to be reduced. The windfall elimination provision was introduced in 1983 as benefit safeguard. It prevents certain workers from collecting full Social Security benefits in addition to a pension, while having paid into Social Security for their entire career. The windfall elimination provision affects both Social Security and disability benefits. It calculates a fair benefit that is proportional to the number of years that you had substantial earnings from an eligible job. There are limits to how much of this provision that you can reduce your Social Security. This is especially true if you receive a smaller pension. Windfall elimination provision has a maximum reduction equal to 50% of pension or retirement benefits from any non-covered employment. This means that regardless of how many years you spent or didn't spend receiving substantial earnings from a covered job, your Social Security benefits will not be reduced by more than half your pension payment. But if you get a pension from a non-covered job, your benefits will not automatically be subject to the windfall elimination provision. Folks, thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions on this, leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer them.
Administration's approach on this, know that there are many of us who are also having a hard time understanding where and why the administration has taken the approach that they have. There's a lot of kinship between Alaska and Canada right now. We feel like we have been shunted off to the corner as well, and our opportunity to provide for America's domestic production has been effectively derailed by this administration, whether it's the actions within the NPRA, the recent actions with regards to lease sales in Cook Inlet, or the opportunity that we have within our coastal plain area. So we're also having a hard time understanding the direction from this administration. But I have to ask the question because we saw the response from President Biden after Russia took that first step into Ukraine, and the effort was not to come to Canada as our partner, but to call on Venezuela, to call on Iran for increased production, to turn to OPEC. Is there something different in the product, in the oil itself, in the crude itself, something in Venezuela or Iranian oil that American or Canadian oil doesn't have? Is it cleaner? What would give them that advantage over what we might be able to do here in the United States or in Canada? Is there anything?
Thank you, Senator. I think the best comparator between our oil would be with Venezuela, because both are largely heavy oil reservoirs, and we are now at or below the carbon footprint for a barrel of Alberta heavy versus Venezuelan heavy. So there's no environmental advantage. I would add that the Venezuelans, that this is a state-owned enterprise in a kleptocracy with zero transparency and zero real commitment to North American-style energy standards, whereas we are dealing with world-class publicly traded companies that rank in the top decile of ESG performance for energy producers in Canada with incredibly ambitious environmental and emissions targets. So I think we probably end up, in a comparable sense, penalizing ourselves because we are so self-critical, we are so transparent. I don't think we really know what the emissions profile is of energy being produced in Venezuela and Iran.
Shareholders through buybacks this year, plus another $50 billion in dividend. Big Oil hasn't hidden its strategy: hold back production and rake in profits. In a March 2022 survey, the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas asked oil executives for the primary reason that publicly traded oil companies were restraining.
Thank you, Gina. So happy to be leading the charge with you. And I'm happy to be standing here sandwiched between our two electric vehicles. Secretary Buttigieg and I both have two of the electric vehicles that are in that 600,000 electric vehicle fleet, and more to come, obviously. So the future is electric, and this administration is moving toward it at lightning speed. So as Gina mentioned, in August, the president and the big three automakers stood side by side in the Rose Garden, I think with a number of those who are here, including Congresswoman Dingell, to be able to say that the private sector is committing that half of their fleet will be electric by 2030, which is amazing because, as Gina said, we are really moving in that direction so fast that we may even get there sooner than that. But we're not going to go electric fast enough if we don't have the ability to eliminate range anxiety for people and to be able to have them plug in wherever they live, wherever they work, wherever they want to head. And so today, to make sure that every American can not just purchase an electric vehicle, but use it wherever they go,